Hello, United States of America. Greetings to everybody all over the planet. My name is KevinJJohnston. This is the Kevin J. Johnston Show that runs every Tuesday live, 9 p.m. Toronto time, 7 p.m. Calgary time, 6 p.m. Vancouver time. Oh, yeah. And you'll always catch it live on freedomreport.ca. That goes directly to our Rumble channel. Why do we use Rumble? Well, because Facebook honestly sucks. How many times has Mark Zuckerberg killed our Facebook pages or shut us down right in the middle of a show? Rumble has yet to once censor us. We're hoping it stays that way. Stefanos will be joining us shortly. We're going to be talking about world statistics tonight, everybody. That's right. Just like it says, crazy world stats. And we had a great question in the Rumble chat room, and that was, do we ever really know what the true stats are? Well, no, we don't. Every single thing that human beings do is completely arbitrary. Our entire history is arbitrary, and everything that we abide by and or follow, whether it be religion or laws or ideologies, concepts, rules, it's all just made up stuff. And all of that is arbitrary too. So no, we don't know if they are or are not 100% accurate. I doubt very much they are 100% accurate, but they're a good guideline. And that's what we're going to discuss tonight. I see that Ed is in the room. Ed, quit fooling around with whatever you're playing with. Say hello to the nice people out there.
Hello, nice people out there.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. So we don't know where Stefanos is. We were hoping he was going to be here on time. There is
I just texted him. The cops probably arrested him.
I hope not, because he had a great story today. He was confronting police in Niagara Falls today, and I didn't get the whole story, nor have I seen the video. So whatever video he sent to you is going to be a surprise to me as well, because I usually like to see whatever he's up to, but I didn't get a chance to see it. But apparently, I'm going to let him tell the story. All I know is Stefanos is going to be talking about the fact that in Niagara region, these far left, crazy, psychopathic, pedophilic teachers, part of the Niagara School Board or wherever it might be, well, they were forcing people to do what? Show identification at the door to go into a public meeting held on public land to do with the public. Holy crap. No, we can't have that at all. What are your thoughts?
It's a communist country. Antifa's pretty much running the show. They've been elected to various councils, positions in politics. And if you're on the right side of things, you just want to do your thing and mind your own business. Well, they don't. They want to screw you over. They want to groom your kids. Oh, by the way, don't forget, June is Child Grooming Awareness Month. If you see a pride flag, that's what that stands for. They want your kids, people. They want our kids.
You're right. They do. And look, if you're a kid and you're anywhere at all in Canada, do you know what this drag queen pride stuff is all about? Your teachers and their friends want to have sex with you. That's what this is all about. They want all of you to think that any bizarre sexual act is something that you should give into. You should capitulate because they say so. That's what this is all about. Your teachers who teach this stuff, if they even read one sentence out of the LGBTQ radical leftist religion, then you know that that is what their goal is. My Lord, Stefanos Karatopoulos is here, everybody. Well, Stefanos, tell you what we're going to do here. Something I'll explain to the nice people around the world watching the show. We tend to not rely on anything lowbrow on this show. All right. We really don't do lowbrow. But once in a while, understanding what men are, and the fact that as young men, we try our best to grow mustaches and beards to look older, and then we get older like this, and we shave it all off because we don't want to look old, nor be old, or otherwise. And then we realize that there's this time, probably between 30 and about 45, where we take ourselves and the world way too seriously. Well, you hit your 50s and your 60s, and you no longer care about stuff like that. I mean, thinking back, I would say over 99% of stuff that used to bother me in my 20s could never possibly bother me now. So we decided today to be a little bit lowbrow just for the next 15 seconds. Now, I promise you, as always, no profanity and no nudity. But Steph, turn your microphone on. Come on. Turn your microphone.
Wait, it's on. It's on. I don't know about profanity when the videos go because
I'm not talking about your video. I'm talking about this video. The lowbrow stuff. The joke. Right? Okay. Here we are.
Happy birthday to you. You smell like big poo. Your prostate and balls are sagging, and you're going to die soon.
It's the end of his life.
Is that true about your prostate?
It's the end of his life. Oh my God.
Ed is 60 years old and a day as of today. How does it feel, old man?
Actually, my knee just started to hurt the other day, the one that I got fixed. So
not because of the song we sang.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Kevin, all I got to say is Ed put a wicked party on. It was great. Ed, thank you so much. You've done more than you know. Party.
My phone kept going off all night with people sending me photographs of Ed's big birthday bash on Saturday. Was it Friday or Saturday? Saturday it was. Saturday. So congratulations on having a massive birthday party. Cops, did they show up?
Nope. We did have a low flyby by a chopper at unusually low altitude. Very close to the party. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I learned that I can sleep on top of a beer bottle.
And if anybody wants to invite Stefanos to the party and they have dogs, don't.
Oh, come on, Ed. Your dog. If you have dogs, make sure you have me there because all animals love me beyond belief.
Corrupting a minor?
Oh, hey, Ed, you didn't call Hashem. What's going on here? Hashem's been watching the show since the very beginning, since the first episode ever.
Man, I was so busy trying to get everything ready for the party. I just didn't have.
Okay, Hashem, Ed is going to buy you 7 cases of beer and dinner at the most expensive restaurant in the province. Okay,
with Kevin's money. With Kevin's money.
Yeah, no.
With Kevin's money,
Ed's
what ain't happening?
Yeah, your grandma didn't give you a birthday card with lots of cash inside. Ed, come on.
No,
don't be cheap.
Grandma passed away a long time ago.
I used to love that. Remember the pink $2 bills we used to have? That was my grandmother. Every birthday, I got a $2 bill in the mail inside of a birthday card.
$2 you could buy something 50 years ago, Kevin. You could buy a lot.
You could.
Yeah.
You could. Yes. I don't know if anybody remembers from the 1970s. There was Freezies, but then there was Kisco's. All right. So what it was a thin Freezy about that tall, and then beside it was a thick Freezy like that. So you'd cut the top off and you'd suck on the thick Freezy and then you drink the sugared water. All it was just sugar and ice. That's all that it was.
And food coloring.
Yeah, you could buy those for 10 cents back in the day.
Nickel.
10 cents. No, Freezies were a nickel. Kisco's were 10 cents. Remember, you're a decade older than I am.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, you're quoting 60s prices. I'm quoting 70s.
Yeah, I remember buying double bubble for a penny a piece.
Yes, that was a thing. That was a thing. Double bubble, when they had those stupid cartoons inside. What was his name? Ed? No, wasn't Ed. I can't. Something Pete, was it? Who remembers? Put it in the chat room, everybody. If you remember what we're talking about, double bubble, the rectangular pieces of gum. They had comics inside. They were awful. Not one was funny, but there was a consistent character in there that was seemingly a loser that always got in some kind of trouble. There we are. And yes, everyone, we are watching the we're watching the Rumble chat. We're looking for questions in the Rumble chat room. Just that when, like here, only Facebook and Twitch can pop up here in the bottom for whatever the reason. We don't know why. DLive chat, we're watching that as well. And don't forget to go to my Rumble channel. Just type in freedomreport.ca and you'll get to the Rumble channel. Subscribe there. We're this close to breaking 3,000 subs on Rumble. So everyone go sign up now. Open a new browser and sign up. And could everybody please do me a small favor? My lovely, lovely little niece, she's 10 years old today. Could everyone just say, please, happy birthday, Lily? Throw it in the chat at the bottom. We're going to toss it up on the screen. See, we don't swear in this show because I know that my nieces and nephews are watching, and they're all under 16, except for one.
Happy birthday, Lily. And I was just kidding about the rabbit thing, eh? Nice bunny.
There we go. Okay, so we are talking about statistics tonight. But first, hold on. Steph, your video, you're confronting the police today? Steph?
Yes, sir. I sure as hell was. First, I confronted. I'm still trying to get the video of the police is being uploaded. I'm waiting for the approval of Face Scum, but I do have one.
I got it.
Right now. Hold on. I do have one video here.
I got part 2.
The one of who I told you that had me when I was talking to the police. The audio is a little bit shitty, so I'm
I swear. I just said my niece is 10. You're saying you're talking like that. You're talking like that.
I didn't say that.
Hey, you're smoking. Come on.
No, I'm not. Ed's smoking, not me. Look.
You will be shortly.
After this kind of pressure, of course I will. But I'm just waiting for Facebook to give me the approval on the police one, and that is imperative, as a matter of fact. I have
Facebook to do anything. You'll be waiting for a very long time.
If you look at the private chat, I put you the link up first to the security guards. If you want to roll that one,
here I'll roll the one I found on Facebook on Bridget's.
Yeah, that one the audio's not as good.
I thought it was okay.
Well, whatever, guys. Who cares? Play it. What happened? What? Stephanie, walk us through the video here. What's going to happen here?
Well, what I found out was were the card. And put the sergeant in the issue of party. And
Steph, we can't hear you, man. Steph, we can't hear you.
People that think that they have claimed democracy when we literally are living under what is dictatorship. You normalize communism by taking injections for the sake of a job. Those injections shorten the life of
Can you jump ahead to the action step?
all work through the medical system to make sure that they die before the age of 67. No attention. I know that they're going to stop. They'll be done if they took 2 weeks of jobs.
Stephanos, can you jump ahead to the action? I want to see you scold this police officer. Jump ahead.
How many ways did you believe that the African children of Africa are still slaves to modeling science that are acceptable as part of your invention after they've been in trial runs?
Pause the video for a second.
There's plenty of case law in Cardi. I have a legal background.
Okay, so this is a sergeant. You can tell by the stripes, and believe me, when you call a sergeant in the police force officer, they always turn. It's sergeant. You know, like those stripes matter, right? We talked about arbitrary everything. My Lord, it's not like they're in the military. So you're talking to this guy, and he's reiterating to everybody out there that the school board is collecting identification before people can go in.
Yeah, so if look in the private chat, play that video, please. The audio you can hear perfectly clear. Like I said, that other one was garbage. Yeah, so everybody was telling me that the police were wanting identification for you to enter a public meeting on public grounds, which is unconstitutional. That is carding, and so I I was desperately trying to get somebody to walk up with me. Thank God at least Bridget did. And I was rolling. But you know what, Kevin, like I've said, people do not take the initiative in Niagara. Canadians, what the hell? Do we have a yellow stripe down us? Are we letting communists and fascists, Antifa, you know, overrule us? They have us in court every 2 seconds. Why are we not taking these scumbags to court? Where is the backbone? Where is the spine in Canadians to enforce their rights? So I took it upon myself. I got Bridget Monroe with me, and we rolled on up onto the sergeant, and I made very pointed questions to him, which he answered wrongly, as always. Tried to throw me off the track, saying they're a different agency. You know, I don't give a rat's behind whether you're a degenerate cop or if you're a piece of garbage person on the school board. That does not matter. The fact is, you cannot card constituents. You cannot card people who live in a municipality. And by the way, this Catholic school board of Niagara on Rice Road, where this was in Welland, has a human rights complaint against them because they have discriminated. It's been very well documented against them on a disabled child. Now, what they are doing, Kevin, is they want you to produce identification in order to enter a school board meeting, a public meeting. That is unconstitutional. That is carding. They cannot do this. There will be a constitutional question coming, and I will be bringing that forward. I hope that people in Niagara, at least, and wherever, what country you're in, I don't care, will back me financially. This is something that is benefiting all of us, and there shouldn't be not one person that stands for this, because that one person is standing for all of you. Whether you have the backbone or not, at least have a backbone to provide some financial support to it. We're not saying the whole thing. We might look at 50,000 in total from start to finish, but back them. You know, there's a lot of people that live in Canada, 40 million, and this sets precedent clear across the country. So it's not an issue that's localized to a municipality. This is something that is being pushed clear across the country, period. Now, I don't know if you have that video up yet or not, but
I can't log into it. But if that's it, go ahead and play it.
No, that one there is a video of me putting the security guards in place because they were out there trying to tell somebody that they cannot Catholic school board cannot raise their flag that they had there, or their sign or whatever. And I put those suckers in place, and they tried to say, you want to speak about law? You're breaking the law because you're smoking. I told these scumbags, give me the freaking ticket for smoking.
How do we go from pride flags and pedophilia to you smoking?
There you go. There's a difference between a constitutional challenge or a question or something that's being done unconstitutionally.
Yeah.
And then there's a difference from some loser trying to put in policy that only applies to students. You can't smoke on school property. That's why this degenerate ran like a little beehive. And that's why they ran away. I chased them off of whoever that person was, and I'm glad that they did raise their flag. Don't listen to these henchmen. They can't do nothing. They're no different than you or I.
Okay, so hold on. I got to clear something up now for our American friends who are watching, because security guards can carry guns in the States. Security guards cannot even carry a baton in Canada. They have no authority of any kind aside from to command you on the property that they're paid to command you off of. So the only time the security guard can put his hands on you is if they're pushing you out of an enclosed space, such as a building, a mall, a school, and so on. But after they've warned you a number of times. Yeah. But they can't touch you outside of that. That's it. That's what they got to call the police. Security guards have zero authority in Canada. So the best thing in the world to do is just not talk to them. Just tell them, go away, scram, don't talk.
Stefanos, I can't download that. There's some kind of. I'll try the one you just put up now.
I can't get in there either. I've tried.
Well, that's weird. Is Facebook blocking me by any way, shape, or form? Do you know?
That is a possibility because Facebook, as people may or may not be aware, they've locked Shadow Davis out of his Facebook page for the next 30 days. That's why I tell everyone, follow us on Rumble. You never know what Facebook is going to do. You just don't. In fact, my Mr. Kevin J. Johnston's got something like 11 warnings on it for what? And so I don't post jokes on Facebook anymore. You'll have to go to my Gab account for that one. Just gab.com/KevinJJohnston. And I archive everything on Instagram. And actually Instagram, whenever I make videos, they always go to Instagram first.
Stefanos, post whose page that's on in the private chat, and I'll see if I can dig it out. And check your privacy settings on that page also.
It's
especially
Facebook,
the video.
man. It just sucks. You know what, Steph?
I hold on. I might have it to friends only. Hold on a sec or something. No, you are friends, so you would see. Maybe it's still. Oh, sorry, it's locked here. I'm a retard. Sorry.
No, we're not going to argue.
Okay. Just because I'm smart in some things doesn't mean I'm smart in everything. Okay, you should be able to do it now.
Okay, I got to see this. Let's go. Hit it.
Nope.
Oh, come on. Put on
the police costume with the bullwhip that you have in your closet and just act it out for us. That's the better move.
Nope. Send me whose page it's on.
Oh man, this sucks. He's phoning in the middle of a show to get a link for a video. And he's laughing about it. Here, tell you what, Steph, here's some privacy. Oh man. So at any rate, we're going to be jumping on the statistics pretty soon because there's a lot of really odd things that we found statistic wise. And yeah, there we go. That's right, Hashem. Things don't always go to plan when you're doing things live. That is absolutely for sure. Especially
it's not on his page.
He's still on the phone. I can see him in the bottom there. He's still on the phone. Either way. All right. Couple of quick things here, everyone. We are watching the chat rooms in Rumble and D Live. And what I do highly recommend for everybody here is all of you who watch the show on Facebook and Rumble and whatever else, you should be talking to each other. You should all friend each other because it matters that we can all stay in touch. If for some odd reason Facebook kills us completely, we will be on Rumble. If for some odd reason Facebook and Rumble destroy us, we will be on Twitch, which we are now. I think it's real Kevin J. Johnston, and we're on D Live. So you can always catch us there. But by all means, go to my personal website, my name, KevinJJohnston.ca, hit the blog section because I always tell you where all the links are for that show. Plus the show is embedded from Rumble. You can actually watch it live off the website as well. All right. I have no idea what Stefanos is doing. So what we'll do, Ed, because this was your idea and it actually wasn't a bad one. Let's jump into statistics, worldwide statistics. All right. Page 1. World population, 8,039,000,000. I don't believe that at all. I don't believe it at all. You know, even in Ontario, which signifies 14.5 million people, more than a third of the country's population. If you drive 15 minutes north of the Toronto border, do you see people? You just don't see people. All right. So it's concentrated. Our world's population is concentrated in large urban centers. But beyond that, there is nothing out there. You know, if you just take a drive, everybody, take a drive from Toronto to Montreal. And even when you drive through cities like Kingston and Whitby and what else? Pickering, you don't see any civilization. You see trees. And if you're driving east, you see the lake to your right. That's all you see. I think the world's population is closer to 6, maybe 6.2. Ed, thoughts before you light that up? Because we are going to be talking about cigarettes shortly.
Takeaway is the population was just shy of 9 billion, 2 years ago?
You really think it was that high?
Well, that's what they were reporting. Another reporting is down to 8.
There was a theory that was put out about 10 years ago when everybody was whining and complaining about the fact that there was too many people on the planet. As countries develop, and right now, every country in Southeast Asia is developing very rapidly. Kenya and Nigeria are developing very rapidly. As countries develop, the birth rate drops because people get a taste of luxuries and they like it. It's tough to have luxuries when you've got 9 kids. 4 or 5, you can still do it. 9, 10, forget it. So as more countries become more luxurious, the birth rate drops. The birth rates around the world are dropping anyway. The 12 billionth person, I doubt is ever going to be born. Not at the same time when we're all alive. There's probably 100 billion dead human beings on the planet now. We're talking about the live ones. I don't think there's ever going to be 12 billion. And the studies are pretty clear on that. There will not be 12 billion human beings walking around. All right. Births this year, 62,674,164. That seems low, doesn't it? That seems way too low to have 9 billion people on the planet. That's why I'm saying we're closer to 6. My thoughts. Next one. Today, 283,085 people were born. All right. We hope that those people that are born do not get indoctrinated into that whole idea of thinking that they're special just because they're alive. You're not special, period. So that means 283,000 men lied about wearing condoms. Boom. Again, Ed, look at those numbers. Those are small. If you're talking 9 billion, like what you said, those numbers are too small to support that thesis. Again, let's get your thoughts on that.
So, no, I want to compare the births versus deaths today.
Oh, let's do that now. 31,384,284 deaths this year. Now, that's 2023 so far. That's a lot. 141,755 deaths today. So according to this, double the number of people are being born as dying. And we're not seeing it. We're not. I got to think about all the major cities that I've been to around the world. New York, Boston, like I can't name them all. Pittsburgh, everything but Vegas, really. I've seen them all. And then in Asia, I've seen Bangkok and I've seen Yangon and Mandalay. And what I can tell you is, no matter what part of the world I'm in, and Panama City. What else? We had San Jose in Costa Rica I've been to. The cities themselves have lots of people inside the city. But as soon as you leave the outskirts, it's desolate. And that's all countries that I've been to. And I remember my grade 11 teacher, Mr. Ferrugia, had told us, the world's population is so big that right now there are 2 cities in Minnesota, St. Paul and Minneapolis, and they're so big that the only thing separating them is the river. I'm thinking, all right, well, I've been to both of those cities, and they're tiny. The populations are tiny, less than 500,000 each. So everyone's talking about how big populations are, but when you actually go to these cities that are supposed to be major cities, they're not as populous as people tell you that they are. And there's nothing around them at all. The world is not overpopulated. Anyway. Well,
if you drive on the 401 these days, you'll think, yeah, we're way overpopulated. Because I remember
Highway
in the
401 in Ontario that connects the Detroit-Windsor border to the Quebec-Ontario border on the east side is a prime example of civil engineering failing miserably. That highway was obsolete before it was even finished. It really was. And it's obsolete now. And what happens with highways like that, they've expanded Highway 401, especially in my hometown, to 16 lanes. And it hasn't solved the traffic issue. Adding more lanes to highways does not solve the traffic issue. It's a huge misnomer that more lanes is better. It's not. So what do you do?
I disagree. I think having enough lanes for the amount of traffic that's coming through, which was the way it was in the 70s when I was growing up. I remember being a kid going from Don Mills all the way to Jane and Wilson for music lessons, and my mom used to make it in half an hour in traffic.
Okay. Well, those days
And that would have been
are
in 78. And that's across the 401. So at that time, it was good enough. And traffic was moving, would slow down a bit, but it moved. And this is like 4:35 in the afternoon. Nowadays, you're looking at 2 hours, Kevin. Easy. Any day of the week. 2 hours for a drive that used to be a half hour.
And it's going to get worse. It's going to get a lot worse.
It's going to get worse because they're not building enough highways to keep up with the growth. Look what's happened in Montreal. Montreal was a prime example. There was even worse in Toronto. You think they would have learned the lessons, but no. And now they're coming out with these 15-minute cities. In the UK, came across this today. They are hiring people to enforce the road taxes that are coming. So not only are you paying astronomical amounts for fuel, they're trying to wipe out diesels, trying to wipe out gas-fueled cars by 2036, I think, and they're bringing in road taxes. So yeah, the 15-minute city, it's not quite what we think it's going to be. It'll just be too damn expensive to go anywhere.
Yeah, but the average person is going to put up with it, and that's the problem. We've covered this before. The reason that Canadians are being screwed every single day is because you don't fight back. You don't argue. You don't do any of that. You know, the simplest of things. Yeah, Canada Revenue Agency, there's a prime example. You know, you get a phone call from one of those losers, and everybody who works for a Canada Revenue Agency, I'm looking you in the eye, you're losers. You know what you people do for a living? You phone people illegally. You threaten them. That's intimidation, Section 423 of the Criminal Code. You extort. You lie. Everything that you do is a falsity. And what you're doing is trying to collect money from we the people who don't have any to give to jihadi Justin Trudeau, who is in turn now going to give it to the Ukraine. So all of you who work for the Canada Revenue Agency honestly can go to hell. But when they phone a Canadian, what happens? Everyone cries, oh my God, they're calling me. Right? So they're calling you. Remember what I told you all, 5 years ago? You get the agent's name and badge number. And I can't believe they even have badges, you know, like that would matter. And you send in a letter by fax and registered mail. You tell them that you're not going to be speaking with them without legal counsel, and you need 4 months to find a lawyer. And then you just keep repeating that process over and over again. You know, one of our good friends, Ed, used to work for Canada Revenue Agency, and she indicated clearly what happens. They can put liens on your property that we can then file motions to get rid of. I say, as soon as a Canada Revenue Agency moron, loser, thief, degenerate calls you, file criminal charges for harassment, extortion. You know, you have the right to live, but see, Canadians don't think this way. They think that Canada Revenue Agency is actually an institution that can come to your house and just take it from you. They're just people. And you know, they're the worst kind of people. As we've learned, Ed, Canadians who work for the government have a serious lack of motivation to do anything, a serious lack of imagination, and they are bereft of morals. Because if your job is to phone the average person at home and threaten to take their houses and their children and everything else to collect money from them, you're a criminal. Plain and simple. So,
Kevin, remember QP just a few weeks ago? Actually, it's been about a month now. They were rioting in Ottawa. They were blockading bridges, shutting down infrastructure, and yet nothing. Cops were there giving them protection. And they voted, they voted against striking, but 25%, I believe it was 25% of the vote, if I'm not mistaken, said they voted to strike. They negotiated, shut down the government, tried to shut down the government. They negotiated a 12% increase. But here's where it gets juicy. Compounded yearly. So they get 12% this year. They get 12% on top of the 12% next year. The year after that, they get 12% on top of the 12% plus 12%. So Again, about a 50%, approximately 50% raise if you think about it over 3 years.
What are Canadians going to do about that?
You
And
guys
the answer is
that's
nothing.
going to go up 50%? Sure.
Right. So people who work for the government should not get six figures. When the rest of us who are skilled, we have imagination, we have a moral and ethical code, and we certainly are willing to work harder than anybody in the government, we should not be at 50K a year or less while they're making six figures. Should not be the case. But Canadians put up with it. It's really sad. By the way, when I went on my rant about Canada Revenue Agency, calling them the losers that they are, 5 people dropped off out of Facebook. So maybe a couple of them are watching. Too bad. Too bad. If your job is to steal, we don't have any respect for you here. Ed, check the private chat room there. I've given you the link that works. Our good lady there, Marnie, got us the link to the video. Oh, and Zoom it says, hey, Mike, I love listening to your rants. So it looks like Mike Martins is in the chat room right now, chatting with everybody. That's good. I'm glad everybody in Rumble is getting along. It turns out that Antifa, I think they've given up. I think they've given up talking in Rumble because everyone just shot them down in flames and blocked them. Here we are. So, Ed, if you got that link there. All right. Oh, Steph, we got your link. Marnie got us a link. Let's have a look at this video you're talking about.
All right. I hope that's it.
Where is it? Where is it? Ed, I gave you the link. Click it, man.
Ed, I'm gonna send you through GoFile. I'm gonna send you the video.
Okay. Whoa, Ed, I sent you the link in the private chat. Click it and put it up, please.
It's the same one I've been getting all night. It's the wrong one.
That's
Okay,
the security guards. Hold on.
It's not the right one. Okay.
No, it's not the right one.
Good. You keep fishing for that, and we'll go to the next stat. Okay. Beautiful. Next statistic. Okay, here we go. So net population growth, this is worldwide, everybody, 31,289,879. And net population growth today, 141,333. Now, Ed, getting back to what we were saying earlier, since birth rates are down all around the world, could these numbers possibly be accurate or could they be lies?
Who knows? Who knows? But
Yeah,
there's more. Dig in and you'll see. We'll get to the juicy stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah. We got like 15 of these slides to go through. Absolutely. So stat number 2, government and economics. Public health care expenditures today, $12,859,944,692. That's worldwide. So where's this money going? Because I don't think that Western hospitals are really all that great. The Brazilians are laughing at us because our medical technology and our administrative capacities are 20 years behind them. So are these amounts being spent elsewhere? I don't think they're being spent here. And if they are being spent in Canada, they certainly are not being spent on people who are sick. Ed? Or he's busy typing. But check it out. In one day, you got, wait a minute. Could that be right? Public education. Never mind. I didn't read that. Public education expenditure today, $8,606,055,365. Well, what are they spending the money on? Because kids these days, everybody under 35 is an idiot, stupid, but not through their own fault. It's because the school boards are not teaching them anything that's viable. It's all left-wing dogma. So where is that money going? Steph, you look puzzled. Did you find it?
He's muted.
Okay. I think we're just going to have to say that Stefano's won the argument.
It's still uploading. Sorry, I'm trying to get this out. I've been informed that on my Facebook, I have posted this show link to this show. And somebody shared it, and they were instantly banned. So we have Facebook stuff. Ed, it's still uploading. When it's done, I'll send you the link. You can download it.
Okay. I will also stick that video, Stefanos, on my Rumble channel and on a couple of other places. I want people to see the thrashing that you gave to the powers that be. One of the comments that you made earlier today when you and I were talking about this was the fact that the cop said to you that they're not trained in law. elaborate, please.
Okay, so I've said this multiple times. I don't know if people remember or not, but police are not trained in law. They have no legal background whatsoever, not constitutional law or any type of law. All police job is to gather information. It goes to a detective, and they determine whether charges are to be laid or not as their investigation. So, and as the cop admitted, and this is a sergeant, people, so he is the senior in charge of the police there. And I told the cop straight up, don't try to BS me because I have a background in law. So I put him on notice immediately. And he said straight up, and he admitted it, he has no clue about law. And I said, but yes, I do. So what he tried to do, Kevin, is he tried to deflect from the carding. And he says, well, we're a different agency. Well, that doesn't matter if you are police or a school board or a hospital. You're all government. And when it comes to government, you're all subject to the Canadian Constitution, period. And you have to abide and respect that because the Constitution is the highest law of the land.
Okay. Okay, and I'm watching the oh, Mike Martins wants to come in. Should we let him? What do you say? Should we let him?
Why the heck not?
Yeah, why not? Hey, why not? We kind of like Mike here. Hold on, let me get him an invitation right now. Mike, go to your email box right now, bro. Mike Martins from Mike in the Night runs every Saturday night. I forget what time. Is it 8 p.m.? Oh, he'll tell you. He'll tell you. Mike, email. Click the link. Come in. We absolutely love having Mike in the Night show up. Okay, so he'll be here in a second. Yeah, Mike, I just did. Thank you. I just did. Yes. So Gary, in the Rumble chat room, you said you're having some difficulty with your DLive account. Email us, the email address above, or below. Email me all that information, and we can address that after tonight's show. Appreciate that. And for those who are asking about Sandra Solomon, I have not seen Sandra Solomon in 3 years now. My understanding is she got married and had another child on the way. I certainly wish her all the best. She's a pretty awesome chick, but I have not seen her in that amount of time. But we know that she did get her son back. The Saudi government tried to hold him in Saudi Arabia. She got him back. So good for her. Sincerest congratulations. Yes, Ed.
I don't know if you heard, but her husband's daughter was executed somewhere in the former USSR.
No, I hadn't heard about that.
No, I never heard it.
Yeah, because I don't want to get into details until I have all the facts, but it was quite an emotional time for them a few years ago. So they've gone silent because of that.
Well, there's probably more of a reason why they've gone silent too. And in DLive, what's on my radar? Last time I saw her was at Adamson's barbecue. That's when the cops tried to run me over with their horse. God, that was ridiculous. There he is. Mike from Mike in the Night. Here, I'll swap you with Ed. That way we can see your chin. Go ahead.
How you doing?
Mike, we're doing great, man. Always a pleasure to see you. So, talk. What's up? Well,
right now, there's a lot of noise in the house because pretty much my son's entire school is here for his birthday. So it's we're looking at about 9.
Do you have drag queens showing up later?
No. We watched the Super Mario movie, ordered a pile of pizzas, and now the kids are playing hockey upstairs because it's raining out today. So the climate changed. It's raining.
Hey, how much snow did you guys get?
No, it's just raining.
It was -6 in Calgary yesterday. Sorry, +6. -6 in Banff, +6 in Calgary. Brutal.
Do you know what that means, Kevin?
Please tell me.
It means Florida's going to be underwater by the end of this year.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, because Al Gore said so.
Oh, because Al Gore said so. And
Al
Gore would know.
Al Gore and his computer program that predicts climate change, which by the way, was defeated in the courts. That's not scientific data or data of any sort. It is a program that the end result is dictated by the number that is input. So they're giving their desired effect.
Actually, the original program was invented by someone's daughter, 13-year-old daughter, to see if they could simulate it. It was a high school project or something.
Yes, that's actually correct. Believe it or not.
Even better, Ed, I'm going to make a Super Mario game, and I'm going to have your house as the ladders going down, and I'm going to say your house is going to start on fire at some point in time when a barrel hits the ground.
That's Donkey Kong, the original Donkey Kong. Super Mario doesn't have ladders, man.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They do have ladders, though, and you go down those little
Donkey Kong 2, Donkey Kong 3, and Super Mario Brothers, the original in the arcade. They had ladders. Stefanos, you have no idea what you're talking about. No ladders.
I'm talking.
Anything.
Oh, he was talking.
We got to make it a little bit more realistic. If you're going to have the gay pride people showing up at a church, 3 hours after the event is over, the church will get struck by lightning and burned to the ground. That happened in Manchester, I believe.
It did actually. It's really sad, folks, how they're using and dissecting and using different agendas and then throwing them away when they're done. It was the Black Lives Matter. It was in the 70s. It was the homosexuals. In the 90s, it's the Christians and the Catholics. And then it was the war on terror with the Muslims. It's one after the war on drugs. It's one use after and throw it away when they're done and basically move on to the next group that they want to use, right? So it's going to get to a point, this whole transgenderism has been around before the time of Moses. Nobody cared. We just don't want it shoved down our throats and shoved down our kids' throats. And that's the problem. And that's the problem here. Once they're done using them, they'll move on and find somebody else. They'll even create a whole society of people to use.
Oh, sure. And there are enough mentally ill people out there that'll fall for it first. And then after the mentally, and I'm not mocking the mentally ill, but after the mentally ill get into it, then you'll find there's the fringers, the weirdos, the ones that don't fit in. They join. And then like the one or two people they might talk to online, they join. So these cults end up, especially with the internet, forming pretty fast. They really do form fast. So Mike, you're in British Columbia right now. What's eating you out there? What do we have to worry about in BC?
It's been awkwardly quiet lately, very awkwardly quiet. And I'm very happy that you let me come on here for a few minutes. I just wanted to let you know that I have this really bad feeling by Thursday or Friday of this week, something's going to happen big, and it's going to happen in the financial sector. We're talking really big. And I think the dominoes are going to start falling with more and more bank defaults. But I think this Thursday or Friday, look out for it, folks, because I have this, it's been eating at me. I have other people messaging me. They're like, yeah, everything that's what you're talking about is pointing towards a collapse in the financial sector because of the toxic assets a lot of these financial institutions have acquired in the last 15 years, right? So it's going to get pretty bad real fast. And I think it's this week, guys, maybe Thursday or Friday. Mark my words on this. And if you don't see it, it's something very underlying that's going on where they're going to create a hot war or something really big to cover it, because this 2019, the year of the protest, was no confidence in government. Why was no confidence in government? Because of deregulation of the banking system. When they deregulated the banking system to allow criminals to change the rules and renegotiate the rules as they went along to make more profits, and the middle guy or the little guy ends up paying for it in the long run. And there's too much toxic assets, way too much. That's why they call the Canadian banking system the Great Canadian White Short, because it's beyond. TD Bank is in a lot of trouble right now. If you look at their asset sheet, you'll take a step back and say, look, I don't know a lot about finances, but this does not look good, and I won't put my money in this place. That's how bad it's getting, Kevin. I have a feeling this week, Thursday or Friday, mark my words.
You tend to be about 9 out of 10 times correct. So, yeah, what do we all do? What is it that we do should there be any particular type of collapse?
I would recommend first to get to know who your neighbors are first. Like, that's so important. If you don't know who your neighbors are, get to know them, introduce yourself to them. Me and a former RCMP guy that's retired went door to door with a clipboard asking people what their skill trade was, what they knew, what they could fix, if they could help out, if there's an emergency on the block. So we got to know everybody on the block and create a society together. So we are not disconnected from our own neighbors. We cannot disconnect from our own neighbors. We cannot no longer disconnect at the household level. Yeah, Trump, I'm not going to vote for Trump. Yeah, I'm going to take this. I'm going to take that. No. I trust the science. Families have been divided at the household. Start mending your families at the household level and start shaking hands with your neighbors.
Yeah. Okay. Mike, there is one more thing to be very, very worried about right now. And this one is bothering me immensely. And that is Kevin O'Leary cooperating with the Canadian government. You know, Kevin O'Leary, Dragon's Den, Mr. Wonderful. You know, the guy that says, I just want to make money. Him. Yeah. Okay. These are the companies that he owns. BitBuy and Coinberry he purchased. BitBuy is... it's like the junky Canadian version of Binance, where you can buy and sell crypto and hold it as a wallet. Coinberry is also a wallet where you can buy and sell currency. Unify, junk, block, whatever. Okay, here's what happened. The FTX scandal came up and went. I believe in my heart of hearts that Kevin O'Leary, he got real greedy with FTX and he was investing heavily in that. I assume that he lost over $200 million on that deal. Probably more. What does he do? He cries, oh, we want cryptocurrency to be regulated. Oh, what does he do? He cooperates with FINTRAC. Now, FINTRAC is this government agency that we have in Canada that is supposedly protecting Canadians from, ready for this, terrorists laundering money through the banking system. Okay? So if you are the small guys, like everybody here, and you make a transaction of more than $3,000, FINTRAC contacts you and asks you, did you make a $3,200 movement to another account? And they want you to say yes. Then, yes, Stefanos?
So when we were in the poultry business, we were getting rather large checks, and FINTRAC contacted my father. My father told him to go get stuff. He didn't know anything about this, none of their business. But what you might want to know more is there's a certain limit for corporations that they are exempt from FINTRAC. And guess who else is exempt from FINTRAC, Kevin? Politicians. They are exempt from FINTRAC. There was a case of a homeless guy who was panhandling on the street, and he took in $500 in 10s and 20s. And the bank teller, because she didn't like the guy's appearance, froze his account. And then he needed hundreds of thousands to get a court challenge to unfreeze $500 because the bank teller suspected that he was drug dealing because it was all in 10s and 20s. This is the routine at your bank, which is called get to know your client. That is FINTRAC. They are profiling you, completely unconstitutional. How no one has brought a challenge to this is beyond me.
Okay, well, let's get into this just a little bit more, if we could. So that's what it stands for, Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Center of Canada. Now, one of my clients, all she wanted to do was just move $3,000 in Bitcoin. And FINTRAC forced Coinberry. So let's put that logo back up. Coinberry is now owned by Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Not So Wonderful. There it is. And they used to be good until they started obeying everything FINTRAC said. Coinberry wants to know where the Bitcoin's going to, the name that it's going to, the name of the person, the home address, home phone number, photocopy of his driver's license, where he works, work phone number, work email address, work address, and a detailed listing, minimum one paragraph on what the $3,000 in Bitcoin was going to be used for. That's what they're doing. That's for all of us. And that was Kevin O'Leary. Now, I know that BitBuy, for example, if you're ever going to get involved with crypto, stay away from them. You see, I have a BitBuy. I had a BitBuy account, and I think I had $10 in it. And I changed phone numbers. So to be able to change your phone number in BitBuy, you had to put a request in, then send them a photograph of you holding a note on paper that says, please change my phone number to this one. They saw my face. It was me. They killed my account. Told me it was not appealable. Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin, I think so. So there's a problem with digital currency because I believe the legislation and statutes in Canada, they don't even recognize things like Bitcoin digital currency as actually being a digital currency, and it goes by province if they have any sort of jurisdiction over that kind of stuff. So this is bringing up constitutional questions. Is this a government unconstitutional search that they are doing in people's financial business where their nose does not belong, under the guise of something good as always, terrorism? Well, how about the Bethesda papers? All the liberal MPs and conservative MPs who had laundered money in that offshore, where was it? Belize, I believe it was, or Panama or something. But what about those? The Panama papers, sorry. What about those? Why aren't these people under the gun? Why aren't they scrutinized? I know the liberal MP Philomena Tassi has been shoveling a hell of a lot of money offshore under the guise of her charity organization that supposedly is building all sorts of things in all these other countries, third world countries, which I have people in those places such as the Dominican Republic who have seen no development whatsoever.
Right. Okay. So they're laundering money. They're sending it to second and third world countries, and nothing ever takes place in those countries. So what I'm getting at, everybody, Kevin O'Leary is now cooperating with the Canadian government to make sure that because he screwed up, he made a very big mistake with FTX. He lost hundreds of millions of dollars, and now we got to pay for it. So he is cooperating. I'm not going to tell you what to do. My highest recommendation would be stay the hell away from these 5 companies. They're all owned by his umbrella company called WonderFi, wonderfi.com. Stay away from anything Kevin O'Leary in the crypto market. He's going to screw you huge, big time. Mike, what do you guys say about that before we get back to statistics? Because he talks too much. We're not going to get through it.
Well, I wanted to let you guys know the Vancouver model was basically put in place in 2010. You could look it up. The CTV and the CBC have been covering it. And it's basically allowing foreign investors, primarily from China, to bring their money in. No questions asked, no nothing. You can look it up. And they take that money and they just basically launder it through our real estate. And then in 2014, it got so bad that they were writing, the CBC and the CTV, you could look up the articles, were writing articles about Chinese gangs selling fentanyl and then dispersing the profits into Canadian real estate. Just type in Chinese gangs, fentanyl, real estate. You'll see the articles come up with videos and everything. Now, the money laundering has gotten so bad here in Canada that affordability in anything has gone beyond what you could ever imagine. But hold up, it's going to go back to that video I made last week about Canada's population, 40 million. When the average home in a rural or semi-central part of a city of Canada starts at 700 large, I don't think so. When we came here from Portugal, my dad had 2 nickels in his pocket. He worked his butt off, paid his house off in 5 years at 16% interest or 17% interest, and paid off his house in 5 years because wages and incomes were tied to real estate prices, not money laundering. So money laundering has put us into this really bad situation we're in right now. And a lot of the politicians stand to gain from it as our cities turn into empty shells. And how our 40 million population in Canada, could we even infrastruct 40 million people?
We can't.
We only have 14 million homes. We only have 14 million dwellings.
Okay, one thing to keep in mind is that if you're downtown Calgary, 50% of the office space, the retail office space, and the corporate office space is completely empty. So they're talking about now turning some of these office towers into low-income housing, which means that the downtown core is going to go from a nice, peaceful corporate place. Downtown Calgary is very clean. I like downtown Calgary. It's going to become a slum within a couple of years. That's a very big problem. Mike, how do people find you online?
Just go to realmikemartins.com, or you could find me on Rumble. Just go on Rumble, type in Mike Martins, Mike in the Night, and you guys could find me on there.
Awesome. Great. And when's your show, by the way?
Saturday night, 7 p.m., Mike in the Night, episode 508. Been doing it every Saturday since 2016.
Yeah, and believe me, folks, it's a good show. It's totally worth watching. Mike,
come on this Saturday, Kevin.
Okay. Yeah, all right. I'm in. I'm in. Yes, I'll be there. Okay, I'll be on the Mike in the Night show on Saturday, everybody.
All right, God bless.
All right, take care of yourself, man. See ya. All right, that's Mike in the Night, everybody. Catch his show, Mike in the Night, on Saturdays, and I'll be on the show Saturday. Woo!
The video's ready to go.
Oh, dude, you know how many slides we have to go through still? Okay, play it.
Catholic School Board of Niagara in Welland on Rice Road. Apparently there's a public meeting going on inside. I've been informed that
That's what happens. Hemorrhaging inside the lungs that are not able to see unless you have an autopsy. Guess what? Autopsy means it's too late for you.
Let them talk it over. Yeah, I'll give you a second.
There's the sergeant talking. And the cop, what are the cops doing? Are they checking people's ID? There is an equal balance in life, and you are allowing one of the public literally public discourse right here on the people that think that they What are the cops doing?
You normalize communism by taking it down.
So you're breaking up, pal. Can't hear a word you're saying.
I'm against that. I'm against pedophilia.
Hello, sir. Are we allowed to enter the meeting?
Come on, buddy.
You have to have an ID. They're signing people in. There's capacity for 75 people. That's what we're being told.
Okay. First off, those tattoos make him look like a moron already. We haven't even seen his face yet. I already don't like him. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're just preventing people from entering the meeting. So he says you need to have an ID. And there's a 75-person capacity. So they are preventing the public from entering a public meeting on public property on a public Catholic school board meeting. Now I'm going to enter the line of questioning on
a public meeting?
Yeah.
And can you tell me who has required the identification?
School board.
Okay, so you do realize that that's carding, right? There's plenty of case law on carding. I have a legal background, so don't try to bullshit me, and that's why I came to you, because you're a sergeant.
Yep.
You do understand that that is carding.
Is carding not the issue with police officers or agents of the state?
No, there's absolutely no difference, because police and school boards are government. They're an agent of the crown, so the Constitution applies. Carding is unconstitutional. I just wanted to get it on the record here that we are being denied entry because of carding.
Okay.
And that's how I'm going to put it. That's my perspective. And what's your name?
Like you said, you have a degree in law. I don't.
I do. And I know law enforcement does not, because law enforcement is trained in enforcement, not law. Okay. I understand that. I just hope you understand that, because this may be a problem not only for the school board, but it may be a problem with the police, because when there's a lawsuit brought forward or a constitutional question, that will have the police named in it. So this is totally illegal. I know for a fact there will be complaints coming forward, because this has now made it a closed meeting, where it's not a closed meeting. This is a public meeting on public grounds. We are not required to produce identification to enter. Just so you know, thank you, sir.
I appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. So what came of this?
Well, if you notice the line of questioning, I sent the loser down a rabbit hole, and he went down. He bit the full carrot. And you see how he tried to BS me after I told him not to try to BS me. He said that that's with police, carding is with police. And no, carding is with every single government agency. If you are government, you cannot card. It is not a requirement whatsoever to have a member of the public enter a public meeting of a school board or municipality or whatever. It's not a requirement, and they cannot prevent you. In this essence, they did, because I had no identification with me. Several people I know had no ID. We can't enter. So this, in effect, has made it a closed meeting, which is illegal, and there will be ombudsman complaints going in tomorrow by me and a constitutional question brought forward by me. So if everybody pitch in, you can e-transfer to me. This has to be brought forward, because the school board is a problem. Kevin, do you know what this meeting was about tonight?
No idea.
It was a vote on if they will fly the pride flag or not. But the funny thing is, which I made a video earlier, for several weeks, the Catholic school board has already been flying this pride flag, going against their own
teaching,
their own bylaws, their own policies, which they have to have a meeting in order to do this. So they have breached those conditions already. And now they want to bring a meeting in to see if they want to fly it or not. The Catholic school board is the most corrupt, horrible school board. And just one look at the Ontario Ombudsman's website, you will see all the discrimination that's been happening, and everything has been coming from the Catholic school board, something you would think unfathomable in this day and age, and supposedly being a religion. Ridiculous. How pathetic.
Okay, but if you remember, someone had sent me a PDF document, and it was quite professionally assembled. It looked just like the official letterhead of the Catholic school board, at least their head office, the Toronto Catholic District School Board, where they stated they were going to be working with NAMBLA. NAMBLA is the North American Man-Boy Love Association. They're the freaks that have been walking around with naked babies on their shoulders for 30 years now. And we contacted the Catholic school board in Toronto, their head office, to ask them, is any of this legitimate? And they wouldn't answer any of our questions at all. They would not speak to us about it. They just kept saying, well, you have to talk to our media officer. Okay, who's that? Could we speak to the media officer, please? And they wouldn't let us talk to anyone. So they actually refused to deny that they were involved with NAMBLA.
If this is in Ontario, what I can say to anyone, if you email, make sure you email so there's a record of it. Email their trustees, the board, and ask your questions. If they do not reply within 14 days, and give them a deadline of 14 days, if they do not reply, make complaints. And this goes also for municipal councils or whatever. Make a complaint to the ombudsman for non-response. So that is actually a thing, people. You don't know this. I've been involved in several complaints to the ombudsman and municipalities and such, and holding these tyrants accountable. Kevin, in 1980 sometime, I think believe it was 1980 and around there, 80, 81 somewheres, there was a ruling for NAMBLA. And the court sided with NAMBLA and said that child pornography was art. But thank God that this ruling was turned around and went against it. So this is how the pedophiles, the child groomers, have been continually trying to push for this agenda to be legitimized so they can rape our children.
Yeah, I found the letter. I found it. So I'm just going to, I have to convert this to a JPEG, everybody, but I want you all to see this, because this is the one I demanded that they deny it in some way. And they kept passing it off, giving me other people's names. And there's this whatever the hell his name is. Hold on, his name, the Dr. Brendan Brown is the director of education for this. I'm bringing it in now. Sorry, folks. It took a second here. I just remembered now that we actually had this, because I made phone calls on this back in September of last year. Okay. This is it. So, hello, parents and legal guardians. We're pleased to have all your children back in the hallways and classrooms. And as always, we would like to thank each and every one of you for all of your diligence over the last 2 years, which have been difficult with COVID-19, blah, blah, blah. We are pleased to announce that we have now, wow, check this out, man. We are pleased to announce that we have a new alliance with NAMBLA, who are known as the North American Man-Boy Love Association. After working with them over the summer, the board of directors, what? Working with them over the summer. The board of directors, along with me, have agreed that NAMBLA's commitment to accepted pedophilia and the legalization of sex between adults and children is long overdue a resurgence in our society. So then they talk about preferred pronouns, Black Lives Matter, and so on. I'll make this available for everybody on my website. I'll do that tomorrow for you. But they wouldn't deny it. So obviously they've done this. And that's a problem. You see, Stefanos, you talked about the 14 days. So remember, you and I talked about this back in January, and we had sent in a couple of letters. We gave them 14 days to deny this, and they never got back to it. It was really simple. We emailed it, we mailed it, and we faxed it, and they didn't reply to any of that. Nothing.
Silence is consent. So whatever the allegations were in those emails are deemed to be true because it was not defended. And if you check your private messages there, you will see there is 3 links I provided. This has been going on even recently. So, you know, and in the States, not only Canada, they've been pushing this kind of garbage. So, you know, child porn is art. This is the kind of disgusting, sick, twisted garbage they've been trying to push through the court system to set precedent to make it legal. It's not legal. It's not legally binding. Period. Horrible.
Okay, so this is on Fox News. I'll share that one. All right, Washington. The government went too far in trying to ban computer simulations and the other fool-the-eye depictions of teenagers or children having sex. The Supreme Court ruled on Tuesday. Youthful sexuality is an old theme in art, from Shakespeare to Academy Award-winning movies. I don't think so. The court found in striking down key provisions of a 1996 child pornography law on free speech grounds. The law would call into question legitimate educational, scientific, or artistic depictions of youthful sex. Justice Anthony M. Kennedy wrote for a 6-3 majority. That's a problem.
Huge problem. What's going on in the libraries? What are the books they're putting in the libraries, in the schools, and the public libraries?
Supreme Court of Canada has ordered a new trial for a man who claimed he collected hundreds of child porn images for artistic purposes. But in a unanimous 9-0 decision, the top court says an appeals court was right to overturn a judge's acquittal. Okay, so...
Right, so a judge acquitted him, and the Supreme Court of Canada said, hell no.
Okay, so the lower courts are the ones that are letting pedophiles get away with being pedophiles.
Yeah, we're having a problem in the lower courts, I'm seeing, and you know, I'm not gonna disparage the judges, but we're only human and people get it wrong. But I'm seeing an alarming rate of lower court rulings lately being in the wrong, and when they're appealed, they're overturned.
Okay, Steph, we have to walk away from this subject, and we are going to cover this more in depthly in the future. Believe me, everybody, we will. Chris Sky just gave me a text. He's possibly coming on 15 minutes before the end of the show. So we got to get back to our statistics here, because that's what we're supposed to be talking about all night. Let's jump into it. 39,794,713 cars produced this year. 73,084,133 bicycles produced this year. 110,483,248 computers produced this year. Now, I have always stated, everyone, that there are more manufactured goods in the world than there are human beings that could ever consume them in 100 lifetimes each. Obviously, there's raw materials all over this planet. It would take billions of years for us to mine every resource this planet has to offer. The planet's a bit bigger than we actually think it is. But where are these manufactured goods going when they don't sell? They're not all selling. I can tell you that right now. And the Chinese government got caught last year disposing of 40 million bicycles, electric bicycles. Yeah, they just threw them out because there was no buyers for them.
That's where they go, the garbage. So,
yeah.
And who's going to foot that bill? You know, the taxpayers will.
Yeah, well, you're right. We will. So think about that, everybody. All these manufactured goods, no one's buying them. Or at least I'd say a very small percentage of them are actually being purchased. Kind of crazy when you think about that. Society and media, 1,300,000 books, new book titles published this year. That's why it's really difficult to break into the writing market, right? 359,948,834 newspapers circulated today. Now, that would be the individual papers, not the companies. There aren't that many companies in the world. That number seems incredibly small for a world population to what they claim is 8 billion. Are newspapers dying? Is that what's going on?
So does this include digital books that are being published or anything? Because I do know a couple of authors that write books and they just upload them. And the publishing company says okay or no, and they publish them or they don't. So I'd like to know how they come up with these statistics. That's what I'd like to know.
Well, that's it. Where do they get these stats? Do the newspaper companies out there actually report to the government, oh, we produced exactly 105,000 newspapers today. And if it's a small star, none of them sold.
Is there a source that they cite or anything, or is this just numbers they're pulling out of their behind?
Well, these numbers are being sourced from places like Stats Canada, Stats USA, Stats England, and so on. Yeah. Are they accurate? Again, that question was posed in the chat rooms a couple times here. Who knows? Do we know? But these are the stats that are officially being used and or reported. So whether we're being lied to or not, these are official. We know that official tends to be not so accurate.
You're right.
523,374 TV sets sold worldwide today. That's why there's an obesity problem in North America. I bet most of those are being sold in the United States.
Kevin,
stop watching TV. It's bad for you.
that raises severe questions to me right off the hop, because how can we have a population of 40 million and only 500,000 TVs being sold? Something's not right there.
Well, 375 million in the States, and it just, the list goes on, right? So 5,721,900 cell phones sold today. Wow. Okay, so how many is that per year? Is it possible that we're buying that many phones?
Again,
considering the fact, look, this is the Galaxy Note 8. Now, this was given to me in the 2018 Mississauga mayor race. It was a gift. Thank you to Mr. Juan for giving me the gift. I really appreciate that. But people are holding on to their devices for very, very long times. That phone is 6 or 7 years old now. This laptop is 7 years old. This microphone, this one here, I've had it for 6 years. People are not buying as much as they say that we are. How many people do you know that have a phone that's more than 2 years old? I think it's almost everybody. Because we know, because people will phone you saying, I just bought the new Galaxy Note 21. It makes breakfast for you. People tell you when they buy something new. Everyone does. Right?
Were those numbers worldwide, or was that centralized?
Yes, this is worldwide.
So doesn't that seem to you, that number only being 5 million, doesn't that seem low to you, considering Canada's 40 million
Well, that's today. That's cellular telephones sold today.
And you know, there's some underhanded stuff going on. Like iPhone got a class action lawsuit against it because they were purposely uploading updates to phones to slow them down to make people buy phones.
Yeah, and there's a good point there. Dan says most people can only afford the phones on a plan. Yeah, I mean, one of the phones that was given to us as a gift when we first got to Calgary and started running for mayor of Calgary was a $2,200 Galaxy 20 phone. $2,200 brand new for a phone. So think about that. Yeah. Are they really selling that much? I don't know. There's like just these, again, people are official worldwide numbers. We doubt them as well. We're just telling you what they are.
I don't know, Kevin. I think they are that high because kids, even kids like 5, 6 years old, they got cell phones now. Everyone I know has got a cell phone.
Yeah, but
how people only over 80 that don't have them. So that's the vast majority. And even in third world countries, even in India, they're impoverished. They can't afford a lot of things, but they've got cell phones. Cuba, where you make $15 a month. Everyone's got cell phones.
Welcome to communism, Ed. And for the record, no, I'm not a shit disturber, Miss Clotour.
Okay, well, I'm not sure what that was all about, but okay, here we are. Money spent on video games today, $247,400,000. Wow. Again, we have an obesity problem because of that. So, you know, it's really, for all you guys out there, okay, men, now I'm going to address not even men, males, biological males. The statistic that we don't have handy, but we've talked about here before, is that kids right now between 18 and 30 are having the least amount of sex for that age group in the history of the species. Right? Video games don't get you laid. It's really that simple. Stefanos, myself, Ed, that's all we cared about when we were 18. Chicks. Where are the chicks, man? Where's the chicks at, man? Now you guys, you stand in line for 11, 12 hours because a new video game is coming out, then take a week off work so you can play it for 140 hours straight. Do you know, I know what you people do. You video game players, I know that you guys buy surgical mats. Now, surgical mats are the mats that doctors will put down in clinics when they've got to poke a cyst or they've got to cut you open and you're going to bleed or leak fluid everywhere. All right. You guys put this stuff down on the floor in front of your couch and you play video games naked and you pee onto your floor into these mats. We know you do this. Stop. Video games are not that important. They're really not. Moving on. So, okay. So society and media part 2, 5,763,694,941 internet users in the world today. Now that I believe. That one I believe. All right. What do we got here? 230,162,713,552 emails sent today. That's a lot.
How do they know, Kevin? Wouldn't that be a breach of privacy?
That's the question I was just going to ask.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to know. And hell, for those video game players, use those jugs of Febreze for crying out loud. The smell will be killing you if you don't.
Yeah, well, yeah, our privacy is being invaded all the time. That's all I can say. All right. 716,171,228 tweets sent today. That's believable. 7,740,000 Google searches today. Would all of you please get off of Google? Find a different search engine. Like, let's get someone else out there a shot because I hate those guys. I truly do. Environment. 2,432,603 hectares of forest lost this year.
Double that for acres.
Okay, so double it for acres. It's inconsequential because there are trillions of hectares out there. Like, just, there's lots, man. That number is inconsequential, period. Remember we talked about the fact There are 540 billion trees in Canada, less this year because of the arson, but that's a lot of trees, man. That really is a lot of trees. So don't worry about it. It'll grow back. All right. It's 3,274,942 hectares of land lost and soil lost to erosion. Now, they don't specifically say if that's just erosion where it goes down the hill or if that's erosion where it goes into the ocean and we don't get it back.
Well, it's listed as hectares, so I guess that's how much land became unserviceable, or
could be. But see, they use these numbers to frighten us, but they don't tell us what it means. And whenever land does fall into the ocean, which it does, more land gets created elsewhere in the world with soil and sand and silt and fish corpses being deposited elsewhere. So you lose some and you gain some, but the numbers are just there to distract you and upset you. Don't get upset by these numbers.
Kevin, don't forget that our conservation authorities, these so-called conservation authorities, that the municipal ones, not M&R, their mandates are to prevent land erosion. They're supposed to build dams to stop waters from eroding land, and they are supposed to rebuild the eroded land. So whatever gets eroded, they're supposed to put back and prevent it and repair it.
All right. And here is a comment. I'm just going to post this now. This came out of the Rumble chat. All right. Oily Film says Biden just announced they're going to free 30% of land and waters in 2020. We need more clarification on what that means because he doesn't even know what he means when he talks. So let's get some idea of what that means, please, if you could. All right. Getting back to our stats here, everybody. All right. I'm going to move on. 17,088,238,000 CO2 emissions this year in tons. Now, this tons thing, 17 billion tons? Where does that number come from? If it's that many tons, the atmosphere would crush us under the weight, would it not?
That's what I was going to say, Kevin. This is being measured in weight.
Yeah.
And
like the atmosphere at sea level is 14 pounds per square inch. Okay. That's what it is. But now they're talking about tons of CO2, tons, and they were putting out tons every year. But why would these tons being added to the atmosphere not be crushing everything? Every house and human and animal and forest should be flat with that kind of weight being put on top of us. Should it not? Again, everybody, it's BS. It's lies. It's bad for you. Don't pay attention to it at all.
It's a tax on breathing.
Completely. 4,580,000 toxic chemicals released into the environment this year. Well, a toxic chemical would be anybody who works for the Liberal Party, and they're everywhere. Left-wing thinkers, they're toxic. They're everywhere. Black Lives Matter, you're all toxic. You're everywhere. What are these? What kind of chemicals and what environment? You see, these are international stats, everyone. And the reason that we're bringing these up is not to frighten you, but is to show you that there's no context for anything they're saying at all. Who are what chemicals are they? Who are the manufacturers? Where are they being released into? Are these populated areas or are these areas that nobody would ever step foot into?
And who's the biggest polluter?
China.
Guys, we're missing one of the points here, though. Carbon dioxide only makes up 0.4% of a percent.
That's right.
Or 0.04% of a percent.
Yeah, it's not even one, everybody. So who cares? And it's good for you. Carbon dioxide is good for plants. Greenhouses. You know how you get stuff to grow in the winter in a greenhouse? Pump carbon dioxide in. More.
Actually, year-round, not just in the winter. At night.
Sure. But in the winter, that's how they get them to survive because it's cold in Alberta, man. Let me tell you. All right. Very good. Next. So that's environment. Moving on to food. 870,586,000 undernourished people in the world, followed by 1,745,000,000 overweight people in the world, and 837 million of those are obese. Whoa. So we don't have a hunger problem in the world. We've got a gluttony problem in the world. That's what that stat says.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Kevin, does that mean we should cut off all the obese people from being able to eat, since they're the huge consumers of it, so they can leave food for the others? You know, these kind of stats are crazy.
Yes.
Actually, they're not that crazy, because the obesity issue is directly tied to corn syrup.
I'm going to tie video games and cell phones and kids not playing outdoors anymore or anything else. That's what I'm going to tie it to.
Oh, sure. The other thing that I would tie it to is that we have, let's call it what it is. We've pussyfied our boys. I stopped playing full contact lacrosse, which I was doing up until 3 years ago. I stopped playing full contact lacrosse with the kids in their 20s and early 30s. Do you know why? Because when I'd hit them with the cross check and the body check, what would they do? Hey, man, what you hit me so hard for? All right. There's in lacrosse, if the guy's got the ball in the basket on his stick, all right, you are allowed to walk up to him and smash him with a cross check or a body check to get him to drop the ball. If that doesn't work, you take your stick and smash your stick into his. Now, one of the moves I would make is I'm holding my stick, I lift my leg, and boom, I bring my whole body weight down with my stick on his. Trust me, he drops the stick, the ball bounces, I pick it up and go. And they were all crying. You hit me so hard. You made me drop my stick. These are males, not men. Males crying about this stuff. So you're obese, everybody, because too much TV, Netflix, Hulu, all that caca. Video games where you pee on your own floor. Cell phones, crap food, junk food, no exercise. And when you do exercise, you're a wimp about it. Like, not everybody watching the show. The people watching the show are awesome, but the rest of you suck, right? It's that simple. Moving on. 24,000 people died of hunger today. And so if we've got that many overweight people, it's seemingly 24,000 people dying today out of a population of what they say to be 8 billion is nothing. It's inconsequential. So again, it appears that we have too much food in the world, not a lack of it. All right. 506 million spent on related obesity diseases in the USA.
No. Again, the high fructose corn syrup that's in everything, the engineered food that's in everything, the junk food that we're eating, all the additives they're putting in our diets, all the crap they're trying to sell us at the stores. You know, it shows up. Like diabetes is, I think it's supposed to overrun heart attacks this year, isn't it?
I'm not sure, but soy, since you're saying about that, soy is horrible, and it's in almost everything. Soy destroys your organs. Keep away from that soy milk garbage. Almond, keep away from almond milk crap. Almonds naturally produce cyanide in them. That's, people, do your research, man. This stuff is not healthy for you at all.
Hang on. Almonds are very good for you. Plain almonds, yeah. I don't know.
Okay, well, we're not going to get into that. We'll get a nutritionalist on the show one day and talk.
I'm going to fight with Ed over this after the show.
Okay, you two can duke it out. I'm staying out of it. All right. And you both smoke. So you know what's going to happen? I'll go ding, ding, ding. And you guys will be before you even throw a punch.
What was that?
You're both going to be knocked out cold because you're smoking. Right? I'm just going to declare both of you as the winners and the losers simultaneously. How does that sound?
Actually, there's a lady that quit smoking. She was 111 years old. And the only reason she quit smoking is because she got pissed off that people wouldn't light her cigarette for her.
Oh.
Smoked for over 100 years.
Well, she had good genetics, I guess. She ate her Wheaties. Don't eat Wheaties. That's not good for you at all. Period. All right. Next stat here, everybody. Next stat. Where are we? I think we're on page 7 here. All right. $148 million spent on weight loss programs in the USA. This is just America. So people are really overweight and trying to do something about it. But you know how it works. Everyone has a great intention. They pay for a year membership in advance of the gym and then don't go. It's weird. Don't go. I am not wealthy enough to have a gym membership. So if anybody wants to buy me a gym membership, believe me, I'll go every day. And I'll throw photos of myself every single day on Instagram just so you can see it. So buy Kevin a gym membership. Anyone at all? Let me know. Let me know in the chat, okay? Or even by private email. Moving on. Water. 2,139,000 in water used in millions of liters. What? In millions? So wait a second.
Million
Are
liters.
they saying it's 2 billion million liters of water? That's what it sounds like.
Yep.
2 billion million. 2 billion million. Okay. It's a lot of water. So obviously we don't have a water shortage anywhere in the world. I think we're okay. If we can use that much, that means we have it. And then some. 393,000 deaths caused by water-related diseases this year. Now, that's most likely all third world nations. I'm sure of it. Dysentery is not something that we all die of here in North America. I think we're pretty well off. If you ever look at the list of all the kings from Germany and England, causes of death, over 9 out of 10 of them are dysentery. That's a huge problem. Dysentery. That's when poop touches your food and then you eat it. Right? We don't have that problem here. That's a third world thing. 772 million people with no access to a safe drinking water source. Okay, that's an incredibly tiny number compared to the rest of the world. So what do we do? And is that real? Is that stat accurate? We just don't know. And when they release these stats, what do they want us to do with that information? There's the other big question. So we got world stats here, everybody. We're reading them to you because we don't want you to be afraid of them. But what do we do with these numbers? We don't know. No one knows. Blank stares. Energy. 375 million megawatts used today. And 319 million of that from non-renewable sources. Well, we like oil and gas here. Wind turbines. You guys saw the video that I shot there for Instagram, where there was a wind farm with over 400 windmills, and none of them, not in Southwest Alberta, none of them were turning. Solar doesn't work. Even Michael Moore, you know that far left nut job Michael Moore, who's been 6 tons for the last 6 decades, even he said that solar is BS. Doesn't work. It's not the solution. Yes, Ed.
Windmills will never produce the amount of power it took to produce them.
That is correct. They never do.
Wind turbines are not windmills, Ed. Those are specifically big time difference. But wind turbines only produce about 1.3% of Ontario's power, at least in Ontario. Total waste of time, garbage, destroys the environment. They cut down tens of thousands of trees to put them up, not to mention the carbon that goes in if carbon's such a bad thing. And they require natural gas lines going to them to turn generators on the days there is no wind.
Yeah. And you know what bothers me the most about all that, as you just said? We've got these wind turbines that pollute the landscape. They look awful. They don't work. They kill birds. And on top of that, Ontario is producing so much power that there are warehouses all over the province of Ontario with just resistors and refrigerators to keep the resistors cold, specifically to waste electricity. That's how much we produce. And that's through nuclear and through Niagara Falls and all the dams we have. You know, hydroelectric power is phenomenal because Niagara Falls is not going to stop pouring anytime soon. You know,
and it's clean. That's truly clean because
yes,
it's naturally. And they can't store energy. That's the other thing. In Niagara Falls, they have a pond that all the electrical current circles around the pond once, and then it's gone. They sell it off at a massive loss, 1 cent or so, to Quebec and Buffalo. They boast about how cheap it is for them to buy it from us, and then us, the people in Ontario who produce all this power, us taxpayers have to pay the loss on top of it for these other places to benefit from it. That's
Ontarians pay the most for electricity in North America, and Ontario produces the most electricity in North America. How stupid do we all feel now?
I thought it was Quebec.
What do you mean, Quebec? What?
Producing the most amount of hydroelectric.
No. We got the CANDU. No, I'm not in Ontario. The CANDU nuclear reactors are still the best ones in the world. They produce a ton of energy. Niagara Falls has not one but 2 massive generating stations, spitting out clean power all of the time. If you go all over northern Ontario, there are dams everywhere that are generating hydroelectric power for small communities. There's so much of it. Quebec produces a lot too, but Ontario produces the most and charges the most to Ontarians.
And even in small towns, Kevin, where there used to be lumber mills where they would use water to turn the mills, they've converted them into turbine generators, and they produce and backfeed into the grid also.
Oh, you know who they is, by the way, in those small towns?
No.
Antifa.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
That would mean that they have to have a driver's license and a car, and Antifa don't
Bernie
have.
Farber, Evan Balgord are tied into that organization that does this shit. And that's how they get their payroll.
That's
they broker these things.
I had no idea.
All right. So check this one. 2,351 billion solar energy units striking the earth today.
Megawatt hours.
And we can't collect it properly because our technology sucks.
Hey, Kevin, and not only that, but these people who are putting these solar panels and stuff on the roofs, you're just backfeeding into the grid. If the power goes out, you have no power. The only time solar is feasible is if you're way the hell up north, you got no power whatsoever, and you need to generate your own. Because when you're actually feeding solar power back into the grid, those feed-in tariffs, the problem is you're driving up our electricity costs because we already produce too much electricity.
True story.
Actually, the problem with too much electrical production is we've lost all our heavy industries because the unions have chased all the good jobs away. Second thing is we brought in the different types of lights. Neon lighting burns what, 10% of what the incandescent light bulbs used to burn?
Yeah, actually, standard LED that simulates a 100-watt light bulb is just under 8 cents per year if you run it 24 hours a day. 8 cents a year.
That burns 9 watts, right? For a 100-watt equivalent of an incandescent light.
Yeah, but
7 watts for 60-watt equivalent. Sorry. Yeah, 7 watts.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so it's 13 watts for 100.
And it's not even like light bulbs really burn that much anyway. Incandescent bulbs were actually all right. So now you're right, Ed. We don't have major industry burning up power, and we don't have lights burning up power anymore. What do? We're creating way too much electricity in Ontario and Quebec, and no one knows what to do with it. So imagine being too good at something, but you're too stupid to do something with what you've achieved.
And one more kick in the pants to all Ontarians is if you save 100 watts off your power bill because you've changed lights or whatever, the hydro company goes to the OPG, makes an application to raise the delivery fee. Delivery fee. So they will get that $100 in or whatever that you've saved. They will get it back in delivery fees. So you don't save anything.
Nope, not at all. Period. All right, getting back to it. 76,972,000 oil barrels pumped today. Now, this is where I get irritated with this stuff. 1,400 billion oil barrels left. And they're going to tell us that when that's gone, it's all gone. So if you remember what they told us in 1908, this was the big thing in 1908. We're going to be out of oil before the end of, what did they say? 1929. What happened? World War I, World War II, oil production just exploded. The ability to refine crude oil exploded. The Germans had jet fighters more towards the end of that Second World War. What happens when war happens? Everyone gets cleverer very, very quickly. They learn how to get things done real fast. They get real efficient real fast.
Yeah, and they're pissed off at the Russians because they've been pumping oil from the same oil wells for over 100 years now or something.
There's no such thing as fossil fuel. The Russians have proven that, and oil is something that cannot be depleted. So thank you, Russia. They proved it. It's been proven. No such thing as fossil fuel.
Yeah, it's 80 bad.
Oil is not dinosaurs. Dinosaurs do not run your car.
The Rockefellers are going to hate you, Kevin.
Naturally in the planet. That's just how it is.
The Rockefellers claim different, man. They say it's got to be scarce. They got to produce scarcity, and if it's not a scarce resource, they can't justify charging money for it. It's like water. If you got an overabundance of water, you can't charge for water.
Okay, well,
but if water becomes scarce, you can, which is what they're doing in India. Nestle goes in and buys up all the wells and the water rights. Then local people are screaming bloody murder because they can't get water all of a sudden because Nestle's taking it all out of the ground and then bottling it and reselling it to them. What a scam.
It's a total scam. The whole thing's a total scam. We get it, everyone. So 1 trillion barrels of oil left on the planet. Lies. Don't worry about it. 1,000 years from now, there's still going to be black oil.
Hey, that's Kevin, one thing strikes me the most, and that is in the 70s, there was a news program. I can't remember which company it was, but they were like, we're going to run out of gas. We got no resources left. And they had a couple of, guys with smokes rolled up in the sleeves, a mustache, muscle cars. And they're like, what's going to happen when you run out of gas? They said, we don't care. We're going to push these things if we have to. But hey, we never ran out. Imagine that.
Yeah. Well, they've been saying it for 100 years and it hasn't happened. And it's not going to happen. We're fine, everybody. We're absolutely fine. So that one is bogus. Let's move on to the next slide here. Health. 6 million communicable disease deaths this year. That's it. So remember the AIDS scare and all this HIV scare and so on? That's it. Only 6 million deaths this year from diseases you can catch. What does that tell you?
Tells me that I can now, if anyone needs a child, we're going to sign a disclaimer, contact me.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. There's not enough white people left in the world. So if there are 10 gorgeous women out there that want kids, let me know. I'm virile. I didn't do that stupid thing like most people do, and that's get snipped. Are you kidding me? Not a chance. No one's putting scissors near mine. None. Nobody. All right. 235,000 seasonal flu deaths this year. Out of the entire world's population, that's it. Period. 3,555,000 deaths of children under 5 this year. But they don't tell you what countries that is in. That's most likely all third world countries where this is taking place. Where they don't have sanitation, they don't know how to deliver babies, they don't have hospitals, or they've thrown the white man out and the white man can't build hospitals for them. But they don't tell you. What they're going to do is try to frighten you with that, saying, oh, look, infant mortality is up.
Or as the embalmer alerted us to, child deaths, if they don't live a certain amount of time, don't even get counted. So what is the real number that's caused by, that thing that doesn't cause this problem?
Okay. For those who are asking, I'm texting Chris Sky right now. I'm not ignoring you. I'm not left-handed, but I'm texting with my left hand here. All right. And send. So let's see if we can get Chris to pop on in.
Yeah, I just texted him a minute ago.
Okay. Yeah. So he's going to get a couple of pings. And yeah, David, you're right. Oil is self-renewing. Let's go back to our stats here. What else? Your dog's driving everyone nuts, I think, huh? 20 million abortions this year. Now, that one is almost guaranteed to be entirely in first world nations. There you go. That is where, okay, guys, put a condom on. Ladies, especially you young ladies out there, when a man says, don't worry, I'll pull out, it's a lie. He's lying to you. You make sure you see it go on him. You put it on him. And that way you don't have to use abortions as a method of birth control. All right? Take responsibility for your health and your body. Do you know, ladies? Sure, the abortion's the quick way for you to solve a problem. It's gross, but it's your quick way out. But if the surgeon doesn't know what he's doing, or just doesn't care, or is hungover, or is drunk, or just smoked a bong in the back, and that blade that he uses to cut that child up, if it pokes you in the uterus, do you know that he can take away your ability to have an orgasm? It's not a good method of birth control. So make sure you see him wearing it. There we go. 144,000 deaths of mothers during birth this year. Now that's out of all the world's population, obviously cut in half because the population should be 50-50, men and women. But that's a very small number compared to the size of the population. But they don't tell us what countries that it's in. Again, please do not be afraid of these stats. We're just showing them here because this is the stuff they cram down our throats all the time. Moving on to our 10th slide. Health. 44 million HIV and AIDS infected people. Now, you see how they don't say this year? Is that in the entire world's history? We don't know. 786,000 deaths caused by HIV or AIDS this year. Now, remember, it's not HIV or AIDS that cause the death. That stuff just kills your immune system. It's whatever you catch after that happens. That's what kills you. So it's an incorrect statistic.
Yes, Kevin, that's very interesting that they don't say this year or whatever. That's a very good point that you bring up.
So if you remember, they used to really try to frighten us with this. If you got naked and rolled around with a chick and so on, you're going to get AIDS and die. They were terrifying everybody with this nonsense. If you guys read my book, Masks Are BS, which is free, by the way, it's free. Just go to KevinJJohnston.ca and use those 2 coupon codes right there. Press print screen on your keyboard, everybody, and you can paste it so that you can see it. Go get the book for free. I actually talk about AIDS and how easy it is to not get a venereal disease or an STI or an STD or AIDS or otherwise. It's real easy. Sleep with a low-risk partner. Put a condom on. Done. It's that easy. I swear to you it is. So that 44 million is probably since day one. 3,800,000 deaths caused by cancer this year. So you can see that that's what, 5 times the amount of from AIDS or AIDS-related diseases. 184,000 deaths caused by malaria. What does that mean? That even Africa is getting better medication to fight malaria. It's not the frightening thing they say that it is. Health. Look at this one. 12,233,000,000 cigarettes smoked today. Half of those by Stefanos, this show. All right, think about that. That's a lot of cigarettes, man. And that's just one day. 2,338,000 deaths caused by smoking this year.
Which countries?
They don't say. They don't say. It's worldwide. They don't say.
I can't trust a freaking single stat that you've brought us tonight.
I know. I don't trust them either. Period. 1,170,000 deaths caused by alcohol. Okay. But they don't say if it's just the booze or if it's the drinking and driving or the drinking and flying or the drinking and parachuting or the drinking and scuba diving. It could just be, Ed, go ahead.
Drinking and flying?
Is that something that you've done?
No.
What about drinking and boating?
That's something that should be mandatory, but I think they made that illegal.
Yeah. Or to have 20 drinks and go to the gun range. They don't actually say, is it the booze that killed you or the stupid activity when you're drunk? They don't say. So don't trust the stats. It doesn't matter what the government throws at you, everybody. They never justify. They don't clarify. There's no context. And the context is important. 500,000 suicides this year. That number seems very small considering that the governments around the world have been doing their best to depress us. $187 billion spent on illegal drugs this year.
That's a big number, eh?
That's huge.
Hold on. Is that government or is that the people buying?
Oh, you see, they don't say Because you remember, folks, they've stuck me in prisons all over this country. And every prison I go to, they give methadone. They give meth to the prisoners. So who's spending that money?
Did you try it?
No. God, no. Did you guys not see the video that we showed where I took 3 Oxycontins after my knee surgery because I got blood clots behind my lungs. The next day, I was shivering. My kids threw 7 comforters on top of me and I was still cold. I'm just, my whole body was shaking. No, I'm not touching that crap. The next time I have surgery, you know what I'll do? I don't drink, but I'll just drink alcohol. I'd rather be drunk and sleep it off than take Oxycontins again. And meth
Give
is
you those
worse.
gummy bears.
Well, those gummy bears knocked me out. Ed bought me weed gummy bears on a native reserve. And he says to me, use 1/3 of the gummy bear at a time. So I went 1/4 of the gummy bear because I'm not a smoker either. I don't use edibles, but I did because my knee was killing me after surgery and it knocked me out. So being asleep is the best thing that you can do. Stay off the harsh drugs. I would recommend weed and booze after surgery. Stay off of Oxycontin and methadone, man. It's horrible.
But hang on, Kevin. If marijuana is a gateway drug, you should be an addict right now. Shouldn't you be down in downtown Vancouver begging on the streets, selling your body for crack?
Marijuana is not a gateway drug, everybody. That is nonsense. Absolutely crap. Yeah, completely and totally false.
And it's going to be false.
Look,
it's highly addictive too, isn't it?
I got to tell the truth here about marijuana because that's what I do. People who smoke weed, what happens with the average individual who smokes weed is they enter what they believe to be a state of Zen. All right. And those folks might have tried harsher drugs like LSD and cocaine and crack and ice and whatever else, and they don't like it. They stick with weed because it calms them down.
Kevin, there's a very good question in the chat. It's John says it. What if the booze available is Bud Light?
I'll live with the pain. Thank you very much. All right. So there we go. There's our fatalities. That's our statistics, the main stats. But look at this one. Coronavirus cases, 690 million. Deaths, less than 10%. Look at the recovered number, everybody. Remember when I told you that this thing is fake? Remember when I told you, everybody, it's the flu? You're going to be fine. Even the World Health Organization screwed up and they showed us that you're fine.
Well, you know, depending on which sources you talk to, I think was a bioweapon. It was something. I'm coming to the conclusion that it was engineered in the States, was sent to China through Canada, re-engineered or remodified, and they leaked it out, and it came over to Canada in November when they had the military training with Chinese there in Wuhan province, which is very close to where it was released.
Ed, I got a little different take on that, and that is that there's no such thing as coronavirus. Maybe the flu is a type of coronavirus by their scientific name, but it makes no sense because if you look at all the municipalities and government websites, when they're showing the statistics, they say projected, which means it's a computer program. So I believe there's absolutely no scientific data. That's why none of it has been brought forth to date. And this is why there is no data. Just like climate change, it's the same thing with coronavirus.
Well, see, they say it hasn't even been purified or isolated yet. And yet you can buy test kits that are positive and negative.
Yeah, but pineapples test positive too. So is the pineapple sick?
Well, how about your motor oil? That's even worse, isn't it?
Yeah,
Kevin,
it'll make your engine die. Kevin, you're muted.
Kevin, you're muted.
I have Chris Sky on the phone, everyone.
Okay. Is he coming on? Oh, it probably needs a link.
You have to say Kevin, 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 because he's muted again 3 times.
Then he's going to have to change his name. Can't do that.
He's stealing your thunder, Ed. We can't stand for that.
Sorry, guys. I'm on the phone with Chris Sky. I've resent him the link. He's going to come in for 5 minutes. All right, there you go. So I told you guys I would try him. All right, but you didn't want to hear the conversation because we were talking about all kinds of really cool stuff there. Yeah. By the way, everyone, there's a moron here in Calgary. I'm not going to name him because that's what he wants. He is the biggest fool on the planet. Ed is not paid opposition. Ed is not being paid by the government. I am not being paid by the Canadian government to do this show. Are you guys out of your mind? They locked me up for 7 months in this country for doing this show. Do you really think that I'm on the government payroll? Yeah, they're out of their minds. Okay. So this is what happens. Remember we talked about video games earlier, guys, when men don't get laid, what happens? They just make stuff up and they're looking for friends online by saying stupid stuff like KevinJJohnston's paid opposition. My God.
Well, last summer in July, I was at a campground, the Cova campground outside of Renfrew, I believe. And some girl was trying to tell me I wasn't Ed from the Kevin J. Johnston show.
You're not?
Apparently I wasn't.
You're a clone. You're a clone, Ed.
This says there's no way. It says you're shorter than Kevin on there. Or you're way too tall to be on the Kevin J. Johnston show. I says, no, it's me. And I was laughing, eh? It's just ask anyone around, right? So you know this guy? Nobody knew me, right? Then Kelly says, yeah, it's the guy.
Ed, how tall are you?
6'3".
6'3". So you're almost a foot taller than me. Almost.
Ed's a midget. Oh, sorry. Little person, okay? We'll get politically correct.
Yeah, 6'3", 280.
280. All right. Yeah, I'm 5'6". Right now, 210. Isn't that great? 210. Chris is coming in, folks. Relax. I can see the emails coming in. He's coming. He's coming. And yes, Eduardo is a tower. No one ever suspects Ed is that tall. I was actually, well, see, I didn't know who Ed was when I met you in 2017. I remember around Christmas time, 2017, in McDonald's at Meadowvale Town Center in Mississauga. You were offering me a satellite telephone to use in Myanmar because I was leaving about 2.5 weeks later.
No. The first time we were supposed to meet was I was supposed to take you to Duke Willis's protest there with that small guy.
Well, I
remember it was in the winter. It was March.
McDonald's. You made the trip from Markham to Mississauga specifically to sit and have a cup of coffee. And here he is, everybody, the next mayor of Toronto, Chris Sky. All right, Chris, looking good as always, brother. Talk to us. What's going on in Toronto?
Well, if you guys saw, as I predicted, I said the mainstream media is going to pretend I'm polling last. They're not going to talk about me. They even had me arrested again on Tuesday. Everything they could to try to make it look like I'm not a viable candidate. Then Bet365, one of the biggest betting websites in the world, finally put me into the rankings for the mayor thing. And a couple of days ago, I was plus 5,000, which was basically top 10. And I told a bunch of my friends, you better bet on me because when there's a week left in this campaign, they're not going to be able to suppress the information anymore. It's going to come out that I've won all the debates. It's going to come out that I have way more support than people realize. And all of a sudden, I'm going to be a front runner in this election, and the mainstream media is not going to be able to hide it. And I said the best indicators of that are the betting websites because the house always wins. And now guess what? I am second place on the Bet365, just behind Olivia Chow, who is losing ground every day while we are gaining ground every day. We just ran a massive ad campaign where we have 8 humongous billboards going up all over the city. As of tomorrow, we have a massive amount of digital billboards. There you can see the odds.
Number 2 on Bet365.
Yes, sir.
There you are.
I'm ahead of every other candidate. I'm the only one that can surpass Olivia Chow, and I will. And like I said, everything is happening exactly as I predicted. We have a massive media blitz that's going to, we have the ad campaign going on with the billboards, the digital billboards. We got about 2,000 more signs that are going to go out this weekend. And we got about 1 million robocalls with my voice recorded on it that's going to go out to all the constituents. And we believe that we're going to get a historic record-breaking landslide victory. I'm also proud to announce that today I'm on the cover of the largest ethnic newspaper in Canada, the Jamaican Express. They put me on the cover and an expose inside telling everybody to vote for me. And to make note of this, the last political figure they put on the cover of that newspaper was Rob Ford, 2014, when he won a record-breaking victory. And if that wasn't symbolism enough, today I got a phone call from Renata Ford, Rob Ford's widow. She got my phone number off my lawn sign in Etobicoke, and she called me and said that my campaign is reminding her of her late husband's. She said, I'm tapping into the blue-collar community and the working-class community. She said she loved everything about my platform, and she hopes I win. So I got an endorsement from Renata Ford, Rob Ford's widow, and I was floored to even hear from her. I thought it was incredible. So we have so much stuff going in our favor, and this whole election is going in our direction, as I said it would. And of course, the mainstream media is still completely silent, except when I got arrested and the charges were so ridiculous they had to release me to my own bail. I also was in the debate contest last night, the finals, and of course, I won it. I found out today they declared me the winner, so I just went 4-0 in debates. And debated more candidates than any other mayor. I think I've proven, not just with this campaign, but in the last 3 years, that I'm more than qualified to represent the people, and that my platform is airtight. Nobody can mention anything they don't like about it. And the people that don't like me and say, oh, he's unelectable, he's this, he's that. I challenge them with one thing. Name the thing about my platform you disagree with the most and tell me why. I don't think they'll be able to say anything, and they won't. And today we went to Wonderland, of all places. I hadn't been there for years. And I want to just go out in public, because that's what we're supposed to do as public servants, interact with the public. And the response I got at the Wonderland was insane. We had hundreds of people coming up to us. We were getting standing ovations as the roller coaster was coming back in. They were mentioning us on the loudspeaker. We had to take dozens of photos with people. And the best part was, it was people of all ages, all ethnicities, all genders, from all parts of Ontario. And it just went and showed how much unity there really is in this city. When they want you to believe like we're divided, when they want you to believe like nobody cares about this election, we are already breaking records in this election, ladies and gentlemen. Another one of my predictions that has already rung true. This is a by-election. Everyone said we're going to have a low voter turnout. It was estimated 350,000 total votes. I was one of the only people saying that this is going to be a record-setting turnout. We're going to have more votes in a by-election than we got in the actual elections of 2022. People said I was crazy, as usual. But what did we already know? Early voting from the 2022 election, 110,000 votes. Early voting from the 2023 by-election, 130,000 votes. We are already outpacing the vote count from the mayoral election in 2022 when they have to vote for the mayor, deputy mayor, councillors, etc. And we are only voting for the mayor's spot. So there is more awareness and there is more interest in this election than they want you to believe. The only people that don't have interest are people like Olivia Chow. She had a party the other day at her office, and they had to shut it down because about 5 of her supporters only were there. But there was about 15 to 20 counter protesters that were there, completely outnumbering her supporters. And this is when she's getting CP24, CTV, CBC, Global, all these news channels promoting her, propping her up like the paper tiger that she is. And she can't even get 10 people there.
I gotta just share this with you very quickly here. I got a robo text yesterday. It says, I'm Mark Sanders, running for mayor. It doesn't specifically say Toronto. If Olivia Chow wins, she'll defund the police and hike taxes. Only I can stop her, he says. Reply yes to support me and stop to stop. All right. This is good. All right. So Saunders and Chow, they're going to split the vote. You're not splitting the vote with anyone. It's your votes.
Well, there's a few of my constituents that may vote for someone like Anthony Furey. But people actually reached out to his campaign team today, and his campaign manager expects that I'm going to win, and actually supported the idea of me winning because they know that I'm actually will be able to get the things done that I'll say I'll get done. Anthony's a great guy, don't get me wrong, but he does come from the mainstream media world. He is a journalist. He doesn't have the development experience or the experience in dealing with government, and he doesn't have the track record that I have. And he was also pro-vaccine at one point. And, of course, he did get endorsed by the World Economic Forum's John Baird, who's a multiple attendee at Davos, who was also Pierre Poilievre's campaign manager for the Conservative Party leadership. And if that wasn't bad enough, John Baird is also a senior strategic advisor at the Eurasia Group, which is just about as bad as the World Economic Forum, another globalist think tank that wants to control what our so-called sovereign national nations do. So I wouldn't be happy to get an endorsement from someone like Baird. He's trying to shrug it off like it doesn't matter, but it's literally like the equivalent of me getting an endorsement from Bill Gates or Klaus Schwab and trying to play it off as no big deal.
Yeah, of course.
Chris,
Get that in our chat room here on Rumble is asking if you're going to be having a victory parade when you win.
Well, I wouldn't want to waste city resources on stupid things like a parade. We'll leave that for Pride. Sorry. Hey,
Chris, any chance you can bring in a tax on mainstream media properties that lie to the public?
Imagine we actually put in a bylaw that stated mainstream media had to tell the truth. Imagine what would happen. And no government money. Actually, if we made them tell the truth, they might not need government money because then they'd actually stay in business naturally because people would actually watch and want to hear what they have to say. Sure. So, hey, maybe it's actually a good thing. Maybe I'll be able to save them and save us billions of dollars a year by not having to prop them up because nobody wants to watch because all they do is tell lies that the government wants people to hear. But hey,
Bell Media is laying off 1,300 people because they've got 9 radio stations that just, it's all left-wing, pro-pedophilia, anti-white, anti-Canada crap. That's
well, you know, you have to realize when the government gives these media companies money, where do you think the money is going to? They call it wage subsidies. So they're literally paying the salaries of the workers. So now that the wage subsidies, aka our tax dollars, ran out, Bell Media has no choice but to fire all those workers that they can't pay.
Yes. And, they could pay them. Chris, let me say this. If they put you and me on the same morning show on one of their radio stations, I think within 5 to 6 days, it'd be the #1 show in the country, right?
Probably if they let us say what we wanted to say.
Yeah. Well, you know that the CRTC would do their best to shut us down, but it would be a great idea for them to consider going to conservative talent now to save their jobs, but they're not going to do it. Nonetheless, when you're the mayor of Toronto, it'll be like the Trump syndrome. There's going to be something for them to talk about every single day. And I know you're ready for it. So
I am ready for it. Every single day there's something, but every single day I counter with something positive and something that's more overwhelming than their negativity. And so, and like they say, the old adage, all publicity is good publicity. For instance, when they arrested me that day, you think that hurt my campaign? Or you think it made people realize that the government's even more corrupt than they thought? Because before, the government arrested me 26 times, claiming that I was violating public health rules, I was a danger spreading COVID and vaccine misinformation. Now they arrested me because I'm talking about all the exact same problems that face the city that everyone else is and simply offered up my version of the solutions. Yet I still got arrested and treated like a conspiracy theorist and a far right-wing extremist. Makes absolutely no sense unless the government's trying to silence me for one reason, because I tell the truth, and that's what they're afraid of.
Chris, how about scrutineers of the polling stations?
We have 86 scrutineers registered, so we have more than enough for each, and they're voting stations, not polling stations. I call them polling stations too, but they're voting stations. So we got enough scrutineers that will be at each one. Obviously, we anticipate massive voter fraud and all the rest of it, but it's not going to matter because we have a secret weapon. Out of the 1.9 million registered voters, we already have a huge portion of those voters. But the most important aspect is there's about 500,000 to 700,000 people like me, eligible but not registered voters, and they're not taken into account in any poll. They're not taken into account by any study or any of the government actions, and that's enough people right there, and 95% of them support me. If they get out and vote, I wouldn't even need a vote from the 1.9 million registered voters. I got more than enough from the unregistered voters to win. So I anticipate, and I want to say this here, I anticipate that we can get more votes just for myself than there were in the entire last election for all candidates combined. 500,000 to 600,000 votes, no problem.
Yeah,
that's my goal.
you can do it. I mean, look, you remember when I ran for mayor in Mississauga, 2018, I placed second, and I got more votes than every other individual that ran behind me, which, if I got it right, was 13 people. So I outdid them all, and I did so on a budget of $9,500. Your budget is certainly bigger than that. Your name is bigger than mine was at the time, 2,000-fold. And on top of all of that, you managed to get your hands on international press, full national press on everything you've done. And they're more terrified of you than they ever were of me, which means you're doing everything right. So,
and you know what you left out? And it's the most important factor of all that everybody underestimates, because everybody discounts this group because they never vote. So no politician even gives them pays them any mind. The youth. I have the youth, and they don't just like me. They believe in me, and they want me to fight for them. And they know that I'm the only chance they have. So out of all those emotional triggers, they're going to get out there, they're going to vote, and we're going to see a massive influx of young participation and awareness in politics that simply was never there before. Because once these young people vote for me once, and they see the change and the power in their vote, it's going to become addictive, and we're going to see young people more involved in politics than we ever saw before. And this isn't some Gen Zs that got brainwashed into thinking climate change is good and we should have drag queen story hour. These are kids whose parents grew up as homeowners, whose parents grew up with 2 cars in the house, and now they're being told they're not going to own a car. They're not going to own a home. And that scares the shit out of them, and it should. So we have kids that are paying attention for the first time ever. And once those kids vote for me once, they'll be ready to vote for me for the rest of their lives. So what scares the government more than Chris Sky becoming mayor? Chris Sky getting national support and moving well beyond mayor into the federal realm and something big. That's what scares them more than anything. And once we get the youth on board, once we get the youth involved, and once we get the youth a taste of the power that their vote truly has, we can change this world. And that's why they try to arrest me when I try to talk to the youth. That's why they try to tell the youth not to use me as a role model or as an example, because they are terrified that the youth are going to unite like we've been uniting everyone. And that is something they simply have no answer for. Guys, on that note, I'm going to have to let you go because I got to run. But remember, June 26th, regardless of the propaganda they spew out of the TV, vote number 82, Chris Sakocha, and we will win this, and we will set history. Thank you, guys.
Chris Sky, love you, brother. Thanks for being here. The next mayor on, everybody, Chris Sky. What an amazing guy. We always love the fact that he takes the time to come on this show. He's the only candidate who's got the balls to be here. He's the only candidate actually who's got the balls to go on any show at any time, right? That's the best part of it. And the mainstream media won't give him any coverage. Yeah, it's all the same. Did it with me, did it with Pastor Archer Pavlovsky, doing it with Chris Scott. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the interesting thing is, if you've seen Chris Sky's debate videos out there, you'll see everyone is cheering for him. There's nothing for the other ones. He's way out ahead of all of them. It just amazes me that the cowardly mainstream media will not put anything out there. And polls mean nothing. They're going to target certain areas that's going to push for Chow. And he took it out of my mouth. I was going to mention about the barbecue that was canceled because only 5 people showed up. Pathetic. On a Chinese-controlled political interference candidate, Chow.
Not to mention, Markham, which is northeast of Toronto, has a massive Chinese population. Chinatown, downtown Toronto on Spadina Avenue, has a massive Chinese population, and they can't stand her. They're not supporting her in any way, period. Because what's happened here with Chinese folks who are in Southern Ontario is they've got a taste of, well, I guess the non-communist life until about the last 5-6 years, and they like it. And they know that Chow is going to bring to Toronto what has been brought to Beijing and Japan and everything else in China. So, gentlemen, hell of a show tonight. Stefanos, final words. Go ahead.
610 CKTB, there's a supposed spokesperson of some sort, Deb Pierce, and they are I was at the anti groomer protest that happened to the DSBN in St. Catharines last week, Friday. And there was a firework that Antifa, the gay pride people, the trans people, shot over at us, landed behind us and exploded and hit my buddy Glenn in the leg behind us. They are now going on and spreading misinformation and lies, saying that it was our side that set the fireworks off there. That's a complete, total lie. 610 CKTB is a liberal, controlled opposition media station in St. Catharines. Antifa Central, Liberal Central, period.
Yep.
So 2018, 2019, I think it was 2018. Trudeau took it out of the criminal code that mainstream media was not allowed to lie. And now they're going full bore, lying through their teeth.
That's all the media does. Thanks, Ed, for being here. Happy birthday, brother. Just remind everybody that we have Ed, who just turned 60 years old. For those who missed the song at the beginning, we're going to play it again right now.
No,
Caution,
no, we're not.
Lowbrow
no,
humor.
Happy birthday to you. You smell like big.
No, we're not.
Don't touch my control panel.
Enough of this nonsense.
Happy birthday, brother.
Let's sell some coffee.
Yeah.
Are you tired of gross coffee from the store? Well, you can jump on to noblesavages.me and go to my shop. So click shop Noble Savages Coffee and you'll get all my coffees in 1 pound, 2 pound, 5 pound bags. So you just go down, click your selection and go shop. It'll arrive at your door. A few minutes later, you'll get a warm cup of coffee. Also, this is the new home of the Wasted Native.
Wasted Native. Forget gas, huff this.
White privilege. Medium roast. Mongol Madness. White and yellow roast. And Justin's
Blackface
dark roast. You can get all these great flavors right here at
noblesavages.me.
Okay, and for those who are curious, that's real coffee, man. It's real coffee. The stuff is phenomenal. My favorite is still Wasted Native because it's an espresso roast. Very, very delicious stuff. Okay, for those who actually want coffee, just let us know. Email me below, freedomreport.ca@gmail.com. We certainly can get some coffee over to you. There we go. And hold on, everyone. I'm dog sitting today. So come here, you. Come here. Come here. Oh.
Bubba, come.
Yeah, it's a big dog. There we go. I'm dog sitting today. Hey, there she is. Mwah. Good girl. Good girl. There you go. That is Lexi the dog. She's been gnawing at my feet pretty much all show. Yeah, so we don't normally have animals in the studio, but it's all right. She's awesome. Ed, happy birthday, brother. Great to know you. Thanks for being here, pal. We are way over time. That's it for tonight, everybody. My name is Kevin J. Johnston. This is the Kevin J. Johnston Show that runs absolutely every Tuesday live at freedomreport.ca. Right there. We're also all over Facebook, although we can't stand them. Please go to freedomreport.ca. Takes you directly to our Rumble page. That's where you should be watching this show because Zuckerberg likes to destroy things for no reason other than the fact that he is a left-wing loser. We're here every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Toronto time at freedomreport.ca. Thank you all for being here. Vote for Chris Sky for mayor. Do it. Don't question me. Just do it. I'm always right. And that's why you're all here all the time. I love you all and good night.
the heart is, the center of our gravity. Home is not a privilege that is granted by Her Majesty. A home is our right, a place to raise our family. Home is where we go for tranquility and sanctity. Home is where we feel at peace and we can have some privacy, where I can voice my thoughts and nobody tries to silence me. Home is where commotion turns to settling dust. Home is where we raise our kids to be better than us. And home is more than just a house. Home is where there's unity. Home is where we gather. Home is our communities. Home is the connection that we share when we trust. Home is not about me. Home is about us. Home is the guiding light within that we feel drawn to. Home is the source of our creation we belong to. Let them try with their lies meant to pull us apart. We always find our way home cause we know it by heart.
All these long and lonely roads, they wind and bend, they find me friends, they lead me home. And I know no matter where I roam, I'm watching love from high above, I'm not alone.
Home is our cities, our states and our countries. Home is the earth below, the sky above me. Home is the truth we instinctively know, helping us to find home everywhere that we go. But there's many false prophets trying to lead us astray, who want to tell us what to do but not hear what we say. They ignore us while they play their game of righteous pretend, like we don't notice that their rules ain't applying to them. While our children have lost their future, made to cover up their faces, forced to get injections for attendance at their favorite places. Where does it end? When we take to the streets, the government won't call a hearing, they just call the police. And to the faceless stormtroopers, where is your humanity? Just following orders is no excuse for your insanity. It's time to cut the rod out at the source like a cavity. It's time to go home and realize that we're a family.
All these long and lonely roads, they wind and bend, they find me friends, they lead me home. And I know no matter where I roam, I'm watching love from high above, I'm not alone.
This country, is this the way you like to live? Constantly harassed to put a mask upon your wife and kids. Cops with riot packs who like to act as if no rights exist. Alive, but we're not really living. What kind of life is this? The world is full of risks, but we don't need protection, cause all of their solutions are much worse than the infection. If we want resolution, we need unity, not politics. Why should we trust somebody who's broken so many promises? But maybe this was meant to be and had to happen all along. The cycle's always spinning and it's darkest right before the dawn. It's funny, to the point of laughing out loud, cause what they said would never happen, well it's happening now. And so many are waking up. Welcome to the front lines. The ones who know behind the clouds will always be the sunshine. You and I see through the lies, no longer alone, and let the compass in our souls guide and carry us home.
All these long and lonely roads, they wind and bend, they find me friends, they lead me home. And I know no matter where I roam, I'm watching love from high above, I'm not alone. All these long, lonely roads lead me home. I'm watching love from high above, I'm not alone. All these long and lonely roads, they wind and bend, they find me friends, they lead me home. And I know no matter where I roam, I'm watching love from high above, I'm not alone. Take me home.